welcome to another episode of Shift with Elena Agar, where I speak with Amanda Hietter. She's the founder of Across the Horizon Travel. And together we really explore the power of connection through curated troop travel experiences, whether it is for coaches, teams, leadership teams, or even families. Amanda curates these amazing experiences. And if you've never been a part of such experience, I really highly recommend to somebody who has, because until you're actually in it, it is so not, I don't know if empowering is the word, but it's just so magical of what happens when we put ourselves in different situations outside of our regular work life, outside of our regular personal lives, and put ourselves in different cultures, in different spaces, and different, it can even be within your own country, but just being in a different physical space does wonders for connection, for learning about ourselves and each other, and helps us come back even stronger as a unit when we do come back from these experiences. And that is what Amanda does, and it's phenomenal. Check out this episode if you're interested in how do you elevate your own practices and businesses through such experiences, right? Or maybe you just want to book a family vacation that is an experience, not just for fun and pleasure, but a true experience where everybody can thrive. So check it out. As always, please subscribe. It really does go a long way when you share the podcast, subscribe, and like it. Thank you. Amanda, welcome to the Shift Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, Elena. How are you?
I am good, thank you. I'm glad we got connected through one of the best connectors in the world, Devin Sizemore, through his group. So it's really, really nice. It's not often, sometimes you'll connect with people, you'll meet them like once maybe, and then that's it. But then when you and I start chatting, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of synergies. And also, of course, you have a podcast, but then the work that we do kind of has synergy. So it's always nice to actually like be able to do something with the person you meet versus like just a one-time thing. So I'm really grateful that you're one of those people that I can actually like build the connection with and talk to you a little bit more and get to know you, because that's the beauty of connecting.
I 100% agree with you on that. And I'm here to hopefully share some awesome insight into the travel world with your community.
Yes, absolutely. And before we dive into all of that, I want to just take me back to how did you get into this world of, your companies Across the Horizon Travel, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Where you curate kind of group travel experiences for coaches, ministry leaders, families, and corporate teams. But before you started doing that, what did you do before? Tell me a little bit more about your career story. How did you end up getting into this work?
Yeah, it's always a fun story to share because this is my passion. So to kind of take you back to when I was little, my parents have always loved travel. So as a kid, we always went on huge family trips every summer. And I always really look forward to where we were going to go next. And so as I got older, I started helping with figuring out our next destination to go to. And then into my adult life, I was planning travel for my family. My ex-husband and I, we had 5 kids between us. And so one of the biggest trips that I planned with the 7 of us, we were like the Brady Bunch walking around. We went to Disney. And Disney can be a beast to plan. And I literally mapped out our whole entire, I think we were there for like 8 days itinerary of like, okay, we're doing this, we're going on this ride, and mapped it all out. And my now ex-husband said to me, Amanda, you really should be a travel agent. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Because I was a paralegal during that time. I was, going to school, working a full-time job. We had 5 kids between us. I was like, I don't have time for that. So COVID hit, as everybody knows, and that shut the world down. Travel shut down. So I'm grateful I really wasn't in the travel world during COVID because a lot of people left the industry. But post-COVID, in February of 2021, my kids were getting older. And I was really starting to think, everybody gets cabin fever in February because it's like, get sick of being in the house. And I was like, man, kids are getting older. How can I travel more? And how can I make some more money? Let's be a travel agent. Let's go ahead and take that advice that I got from my now ex-husband. So I really just jumped both feet first into the industry. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I mean, I kind of do, like I've planned trips, but I didn't really know what it would entail. And it has been a journey. Let me just say that. It's been a journey, and I love the journey that I've been on. And I am about a year and a half in from leaving the corporate world, working as a paralegal and doing this full time now, and officially have my own host agency where I'm bringing on travel agents. That's very new. So I'm very excited about that. And it's just, God keeps providing, and I'm so grateful, and I love what I do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think, that's what I love about these stories and why I love my podcast because then I start with that question because it's always interesting how people end up in the work that they do. And sometimes it is like a thought that was like there and, and then you tie it into your childhood, which it was the same for me. Like I have my own story with like how I started my career and who I was when I was a kid and things that interest me. And it's really unique because I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with is like, how do I know what's next? Like, what do I do? How do all these people do all these awesome things? And sometimes you just have to trust your journey, trust God, the universe, whatever one believes in, right? And just go with the flow. And sometimes it's about timing and the right people in your life to be like, hey, you might be really good at this thing. So that's awesome.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
now you work with like coaches and corporate groups and so on. So what has been like, I guess I love the idea of just bringing people together and like as a coach myself, I think with all the remote work, with all the AI stuff, with all this technology and stuff like that, I think what really matters to me is like when I can bring people together, like just bring people together because I think that's what's we're losing sight of that. And I love to see people being like, no, 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 I don't want to lose sight. I want to come back. And then people like you that can curate these experiences. So talk to me a little bit more about like the impact you've seen that you make in the last year and a half that you've been taking different groups. Like, give us a visual of what that looks like for people who've maybe never been part of such experience.
Oh man, it is so much fun, especially when I get to be like there involved, literally experiencing it with the person that's put this together. And a lot of the things, a lot of the like the feedback I get from either the person putting it on or the people that are attending is that they love the opportunity to be able to be in person. As I just talked about, COVID like completely changed our world and everybody now does things virtually. A lot of people work from home. A lot of companies now have people all over the world. And when you're able to bring everybody together into one place and people get to actually like touch a human being instead of like looking through a screen and give someone a hug that has like made such an impact on your life and people are crying and just it is honestly one of the best things that I've ever gotten to experience. I really love whenever I get to see people come together and do an experience together, like an excursion is what I call it. And they get to kind of be put outside their comfort zone. And then afterwards, like the hype and the excitement and just like the joy you see on people's faces of like, hey, we experienced this together. And we've been like chatting through a screen for so long. And now we've experienced this life-changing moment together. The transformation that comes out of that is absolutely amazing. And I love being a part of it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. It's like it's and I've attended like I've never led one myself, but I've been part of like smaller local kind of gatherings, and
Yeah.
it's so meaningful. It's always so meaningful, and you don't realize that until you're in that experience, and then you walk away from it, and you feel so fulfilled. Especially if
Hmm.
it's like like I think for me it was like I was part of like some women's group or something like that, so that was like a very specific audience. So I think like
Yeah.
the theme obviously matters, and obviously people who go on these things because they're interested in the theme. So it's like double the meaning, double the purpose, and so on. So I love that.
Mhm.
And so when you look at first of all, do you have a favorite place where you book stuff in? Like, do you have like a favorite region?
I have so many favorites.
Okay,
That's a
top three,
hard
top
question.
three. Give me top
Top
three.
three. I just went to Costa Rica for the first time this year, and I
Ah.
knew I would love it, and I fell in love completely. Like you have the beaches, you have the jungle, you have the wildlife, and the amount of exotic wildlife there. Just to give like a little insight on this, I know you told me just to quickly give my three favorites, but I want
No,
to
please.
like explain a little bit of an
Well, yeah, I love
experience that I
Costa
had.
Rica. I love it. Yeah.
Yes. I went to this property. I was with my sister, my daughter. We were celebrating my daughter's 22nd birthday. So it was just very intimate. And we went to this one property and they had a wildlife animal sanctuary there at the property. And so as we're wandering around, we're seeing like leopards and tigers and all kinds of cool things like up close where it's like literally it's like completely glass and you get to be up close to these big massive animals. And then we kind of wandered a little bit further. We were in this little garden, and I was like, oh, it's a hummingbird garden. There were thousands of hummingbirds, and they would just fly right by you and
Oh.
come like look you in the face. And the amount of like chills and just like peace I felt while I was there, like a little bird like that, and just seeing all the colors of the hummingbirds. I have never seen hummingbirds with all these different colors. It was amazing. I even got to pet a baby sloth in the wild. He was literally like
Oh.
this big, so tiny. And it is so legit when you see a sloth, you're petting him and he's like trying to get away and he's like,
Ah. Slow
slow, slow. And
motion.
I was like, it was literally like checking off the bucket list. So that's
Love
one of
it.
my favorite places currently. I also love Mexico. And people always say, oh, why Mexico? I'm like, because first off, super quick flight from the States to get down there. That's key.
Yep.
Like if I want to get away, I can get a quick direct flight there. The culture is amazing. The people there will give you the shirts off of their back. They just are so giving, so kind. And I truly respect that. The food, like, come on, who doesn't love Mexican food? Who doesn't love tacos and tamales and churros and all the things? The food's so good.
Mhm.
And then just like the nightlife. Like I love that they really genuinely love life and have fun. Like even the maids that are working like on the resorts that I'm on, they're happy. And I'm like, we need to like be like that here in America for real. Like it's just a totally different vibe. And then I just went to Alaska this year as well. That's another amazing destination. I love wildlife and I got to see some really cool things. Seeing sea lions just swimming around like in this little like canal where they were catching salmon. Like I've seen them in zoos many times. Like everybody's seen sea lions
Mhm.
in zoos, but to see them in the wild and just see them like interact with each other as they're catching salmon, that was so, so cool. And then the glaciers, like, I mean, come on, that is like you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm this little tiny person's big glacier, and like how the history of how it's created. And it's amazing. Amazing.
Oh my
So
God,
beautiful.
I feel like I just lived through you, like through. I was like with you in this experience. I was like, I could just like imagine being there and like watching all of this with whatever imagination I have. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love Costa Rica as well. I think when we chatted last time, you were saying you went, and I was like, you're gonna love it. It's beautiful. And then I went for Labor Day weekend as well. Yeah, Costa Rica is definitely top notch, and also like a quick flight as well, depending on where
Yes.
you're going. But super close. And Mexico, I mean, who doesn't? Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, that's really awesome. For people who are listening who are like in the US, definitely top three, keep an eye on it, and then call Amanda to create the experiences for you. So, anyway, to kind of come back to, just kind of the meaning part of it. So, I feel like, so I'm in HR space, right? Like I'm in talent development, that's my world. And I know a lot of the talk in our profession is like, how do we get people to, to help them, not only have fulfilling careers, but also how do we create these experiences that are meaningful to them for us as a company, even if we're remote. So what have you
Mhm.
seen that's been like, what would you say is like the most meaningful thing that people appreciate about, about being together and so on, besides just being together? Obviously that alone is huge. But what are some other experiences that HR people can think about, especially for the remote companies that only bring together people like once a year? Like, what's a good experience?
So recently, I actually partnered with a financial firm where they have people literally all throughout the United States, and they all flew into St. Louis area, and there was like 250 of them. It was a big, big group of people. And one of the experiences that we got to put on is we actually rented out this like putt-putt shack place where there's little like putt-putt golf, and it was very interactive. And most of the time when you're doing work stuff, it's like a lot of trainings. Yes, people are getting a chance to interact, but like this was seeing people just having fun together, playing in teams, and like seeing the owner of this company hanging out with somebody that's just like, and I don't want to say just like, but like the
Yeah.
administrative assistant, that's, I don't
Yeah.
want to say lower on the totem pole, but that's the world that we live in, unfortunately. But
Right.
seeing them interact and have so much fun and laughing and creating those bonds that they don't get to create when you're, in between a screen like this. And they're giving each other high fives. And like, there was like a trivia portion of this putt-putt golf. It was the coolest place. I've never been to a putt-putt golf where you have to answer a trivia question to like get a hole in one or whatever. It was so fun. Just seeing them interact was so, so cool. And everybody after they were done, the feedback that I got from so many people was like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. We didn't have to work. We got to just have fun. We got to drink some drinks, eat some food, play some golf together, and just have fun together. And that is so key. Like anytime that people are putting together events, I always tell people, make sure to allow for downtime, for fun time, because that's where the true connections are made. That's where the transformation happens. That's where like everybody bonds just a little bit more because you're having that time to have those genuine conversations. And it's so important.
Yeah, that's so spot on. I'm just thinking about like whenever I did like events and companies, like just like it's just part of my role, like, small little events. And I used to be one of those people. I'm like, we need to pack it with educational stuff. I admit it. I'm a recovering annoying person who was like, we need to be educational. You need to walk away knowing X, Y, and Z, and this is why we're here type thing. And then I've
Mhm.
obviously in recent years, I'm like, oh, like it's actually about connecting and like to your point, I've seen it firsthand, and I think it's so spot on because there's still a lot of people in my profession who are like, well, what's the purpose of that? What's the objective? To have fun, to connect. Sometimes
Yes.
that's the only objective you need.
Yes. I 100% agree with you on that. Like, again, back to like post COVID, we're all sitting behind screens. So many companies have went to people being at home because it saves money for overhead costs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have that time. Yeah, training is great, but you're listening to one person speak. Everybody's sitting in classroom style or however they're sitting. The connections are not happening during that time. So you really got to have that downtime where people are having fun. And
Yeah.
you would be surprised how business can be done where money can still be made during those downtimes too. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's going to become more and more important. Like the more I read about, just kind of everything that's happening in with the workforce and stuff, everybody comes back like in real life interactions. Like it seems like a lot of,
Yeah.
people are doubling down on that. Like, because I think that's also what's gonna, even like from a business perspective, like I literally was just on a call today with somebody, organizing an event, and we were talking about like, yeah, like I'm doubling down on relationship building, and those relationships happen in person. So like, that in-person interaction is where it's at because we get sold things all the time. So even like as coaches, as L&D professional, learning and development, right, as HR, we get sold things all the time, but we don't buy from people just emailing us. We buy them because we know them and we've had an experience with them. So from the
Yes.
the coaches that you worked with, what has been like give me like one case study that's worked really well, or like something you found surprising that you didn't even expect when you do stuff for like coaches and their groups.
And you're meaning like when they were hosting retreat,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So one of the past experiences that I had with one of the coaches, it was a lady. She was doing more of like a faith-based event. It was a
Mm-hmm.
3-day retreat, and she wanted to have a lot of time that was intentional, kind of similar to you, Elena, where she wanted to be like, I really want to pour into these ladies. I want to have like a lot of time of like, we're in God's word. We are having time where we're fellowshipping together, but it's still like very like, what is the word that I'm looking for? Intentional, like where she's
Mm-hmm.
asking questions and having a group discussion.
Mm.
And I said to her, "Hey, let's have a time where we can end this like on a bang." And she was like, "Well, how do we do that?" She's like, "I really want like this to be intentional." And I said, "Well, what about like a catamaran boat cruise like at the
Mm.
sunset?" This was being held down in Florida. And she was like, "Okay, so like how can I make this intentional?" I said, "The intentional way of this is you just allow these ladies just to be and
Yeah.
let them like be able to create that bond." And so she listened to me, and then after the experience was over, I always love to have that conversation. Okay, so what happened? Like, what was their favorite part? What could be fixed? Like, I love to have those conversations after retreats. And she told me, Amanda, I am so glad that you told me to do that experience where we could just be. She said every single lady, when they were getting ready to head home that next day, said that that was their favorite part of the entire
Mm.
experience. And allowing that time for the ladies to bond was so important. I mean, obviously, seeing a beautiful sunset on a catamaran boat while you're having a glass of wine and eating off of a charcuterie board is phenomenal. But then, like, the
Yeah.
bonding is happening there. That's where the ladies really got a chance to talk about, okay, this is the transformation I experienced, and this is where I'm struggling. Can you pray over me? And all of that relationship part is so key with these in-person events or retreats, summits, whatever it might be, where people get a chance to truly connect, because the
Mm.
true connection happens away from the computer screen. It happens when you have those conversations and you get to talk and get to share, maybe open up and peel back a little bit of that of the onion layer that people always have. We have the onion, peeling back that layer of like this is me, this is who I am. And when somebody accepts you for that and really like understands, that's where that bond truly happens. And that's the transformational experience right there in itself.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and I think that's where it's helpful to have somebody like you because again, like as professionals, we're like, we need to bring value. And sometimes we don't, we're like, do people really just want to hang out with each other? And it seems like, you know what I'm saying? And like
Yes.
that's at least that's what I think about. I'm like, okay, is this useful? Is this like going back to education? Is this going to make an impact, etc. And sometimes we forget that the simple things because we get so caught up in our heads. So having somebody like you who's like, hey, like, listen, this hits, okay, this works, try it, and just come up
Mhm.
with creative ideas because not everybody's creative in that way. And obviously, that's your world, that's the world you live in. So you probably have a million of ideas of how to curate
Yes.
these experiences. So I think that's so spot on. I'm curious through the last year and a half, what's been the biggest lesson for you, like learning for you as, building this business and now expanding it with other travel agents and so on? Like, what's been the most challenging, transformational, whatever you want to talk about?
Oh God, that is a question in itself. The biggest challenge, honestly, for me is the endurance part of it. As anyone knows that's listening to this, running a business is hard. It is so hard. And there can be days that you just go, should I just throw in the towel and be done with it? No, because I think about if I do that, I have learned that sometimes you're this far away from that breakthrough. And so I have to just
Mm-hmm.
kind of push through. And so I always make sure that I add in self development every single morning where I'm in God's word, I'm praying, I'm journaling, I'm stretching, like I'm making time for me so that I can pour into everybody else. Even if someone that's listening to this is not a business owner, you're an employee, you have kids, you have a spouse, you have friends, whatever it might be. It is so key to always make sure to pour into yourself first. So really just like the endurance part of it, and then making sure my cup is full. And sometimes I forget to make sure my cup is full and I'll start scrolling on social media and then I start working. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, Amanda, you need to put a pause here because you didn't pour into yourself yet this morning. You're going to be exhausted by noon. So let's backtrack. Let's start over. Let's start this day the right way.
Yeah, it is so hard. It is so hard. And you're right. Like there are days where you're like, yep, just I have those days too. And some days I'm just like, when I have those days, I'm like, yep, no decisions are being made today. I am going to keep myself away from my computer and I'm just going to sleep, like go to sleep or, and wake up the next morning and I'll see how I feel. For me, like that's been a learning lesson for me as well. Is like,
Yeah.
go to sleep and see how you feel in the morning. And if you still feel that way, or like after a weekend, if you still feel that way, then it's different. And usually the
Yes.
next morning, I'm like, oh, my hormones must have been up or something that day or something crazy. You know what I mean? Which
Yes.
is so
Yes.
realistic. We have these ebbs and flows throughout our days and months and weeks and so on. I think it's fair to know that sometimes you just have an off day and that's okay. And then it doesn't mean you have to stop and give up on
Right.
this business. It's just you just need a minute. And so
Yep.
yeah, but I think it's yeah.
So key, so key. And like even like moms, like I'm a single mom. And so there are days where it can be rougher than others. Like my kids are pretty much grown now, but I think back, like I've always had this entrepreneur mindset. I've run many businesses and there were days where sometimes you have to give yourself that grace of like, hey, I am not at my 100% best. I'm more like at like 40%. I need to just step back. I need to put my phone down. I need to just rest. Sometimes it's like taking a walk. Maybe it's just sleeping the rest of the day away if you can. If you
Mm-hmm.
have littles, that could be a little difficult, but asking for help is so key. Like you have to do those types of things because in this world of like go 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 like constant like gratification, constant like people think you need to immediately respond to a text or answer every single phone call that comes through. Sometimes you just need to step back and just give yourself breathing room so that you can be the best person that you can possibly be, and that requires some downtime for yourself, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. As you're kind of thinking of, the next year, I can't believe like I'm starting to have these conversations and planning things for like January and February. I was like, oh my God, like are we really there? But we are. And I'm sure
I
you're already
know.
thinking about, next year and so on, especially with travel, it requires planning and so on. So what are some things you're excited about for next year? What's on the horizon with your company Horizon? No pun
I,
intended.
I love it. What's on the horizon for across the horizon travel?
Yeah.
So fun. Oh gosh, so many amazing things. So as I said, like towards the beginning of our conversation, I just became my own host agency, which is a huge feat in the travel world to get your own IATA accreditation. There is a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And this is something that I have been like, it's literally on my vision board right here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could take that off. Like whenever because in December, we kind of
Yeah.
move those things, and it's like I finally did it. Like I have been trying so hard to get there, and I finally got there. So really, like right now, like I am thinking ahead of bringing on travel agents. For me, my passion is especially working with women. Like that is my big passion. Is I want to work with women that are working a full-time job, being a mom. Maybe they're a single mom, they're being a mom and a dad. I want to help them be able to create this business of their own, create a brand for themselves, and be able to leave that 9 to 5, be home with their kids. So that's super exciting for me. And then I have many trips planned for next year. I'm going to Australia for the first time, Fiji,
Mm.
going to Greece, Finland. So I have all these trips planned. Super excited for them. Doing another group Alaska cruise next year. It's like lots of travel that's coming ahead. My daughter, she actually reached out to me and she goes, "Mom, let's go to Ibiza for my birthday." And I'm like, you have a spoiled child. I think that she can go somewhere special every year. Like Costa Rica was this year, and she's like, "Let's do Ibiza next year." And I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?" And like, so I'm excited about the travel and just like what's next on the horizon of like the world. Like
Mm.
I have no idea. Like God has such big plans for my business, and I'm excited for it. Here
I
for
love
it.
it. I feel the energy. I love the energy. Like I feel it as you're bringing it to life just as you're just speaking. I feel it. So like it's beautiful. Goosebumps, really goosebumps. It's
Oh,
happening. I
thanks.
love it. And amazing things planned. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or just kind of, follow your journey or plan a trip, or ask you to plan a trip in this case, basically, get some tips from you, where can they get in touch with you? Where do you hang out at the most?
So my website is acrossthehorizontravel.com. That's a very simple way to find me. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Amanda Hietter. I am literally the only Amanda Hietter out there because I have a very unique last name. Or you can look up my business, Across the Horizon Travel. That's the easiest way to connect with me. And if you're someone that's watching this and you're like, hey, I want to get connected with other business professionals. I mean, there's people out there that are probably listening to this. I also host a networking blitz twice a month. So feel free to reach out to me if you would like to get connected to other business professionals. My other passion is connecting people. I love just seeing other people succeed in business and in life. That is so important to me because when we cheer on others, they're going to cheer you back on when you win. And so I'm all about celebrating people's wins. And that's why I created that networking blitz to help others. So, yeah.
I love it. All that will be in the show notes of this episode. Amanda, I'm really excited that we got connected, and hopefully we'll stay connected, and hopefully we'll travel together at some point, and we'll
Yes.
get you to curate an experience for Shift Well when we're ready to do that. It is on the horizon for us to be able to do that for leaders. Yeah, I think that that'll be brilliant. So I will definitely would love to stay in touch, and thank you so much for this conversation, full of energy and just I loved it.
Thank you, Elena. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.